This whole Ravens drama goes way deeper than Max Crosby. They've got some skeletons in the closet, and I'm about to expose them. We've all heard the news by now. The Ravens traded 2 firsts for Max Crosby, then they claim he failed his physical, they back out, and then they signed Trey Hendrickson suspiciously quickly. But like I said, this whole phantom physical thing goes way deeper, and it all seems to circle around this guy. First, let me take you back to 1996, when the Ravens' brand new director of player personnel and de facto GM Ozzie Newsome signs the Cowboys' hotshot safety Brock Marion to a massive 4-year deal fresh off the Super Bowl. But then, 2 days later, Newsome announces that they found an issue with Marion's shoulder in the physical and they back out. The only thing was, nobody else saw any problems. He immediately signed with the Ravens and only missed 1 game for the entire rest of his career. No shoulder issues. Then in 2005, they pulled a similar stunt with offensive lineman Roberto Garza. Garza had had ACL surgery in 2003, but played every game in the 2004 season for the Atlanta Falcons. The Ravens signed him to a big contract, and then a few days later tell him that he, quote, didn't have an ACL and backed out of the deal. Garza went on to sign with the Bears, who claimed they saw nothing wrong with his knee, and he played all 16 games the next season and only missed 2 games for the next 9 years. Next up, Ryan Grant. It was 2018. Grant had just come off his first ever 500-plus yard season with Washington, and the Ravens signed him to a massive 4-year, $29 million contract, making him one of the top 20 highest-paid wide receivers in the league. The deal was met with a ton of skepticism at the time. It was a ton of money for a player who just hadn't produced that much. Then, a few days later, Newsome announces that they found an issue with Grant's ankle during the physical, and they back out of the deal again. Grant had never missed a game in his entire career before that, and went on to sign with the Colts, who didn't see any issues with his ankle. There were never any reported issues with Grant's ankle for the rest of his career, and the Ravens went on to sign Michael Crabtree instead for a fraction of the cost. And that takes us to now. It's worth noting that Ozzie Newsome stepped down a few years ago, but his longtime protege, Eric DeCosta, replaced him. And guess who's still on the staff as a senior executive? Teams are claiming that the Raiders were very open about Crosby's knee. Everyone knew he was coming off meniscus surgery, and the Raiders' doctors and Crosby's knee scans were made available during the negotiation process. We're also hearing that Crosby is still very much on schedule for his recovery and will be back in time for the offseason program. It is certainly possible that the Ravens saw something that spooked them during Crosby's physical, but my question is, why did it take them 4 days to figure that out? It's made even more suspicious that while all of this was happening, it was coming out that Trey Hendrickson's market was a lot softer than expected and that he'd have to come down a lot from his initial asking price, which was somewhere around $40 million per year. And then also pair that with how quickly the Ravens were able to pivot to signing him. It feels like the Ravens saw an opportunity to get a similar caliber player for less money while keeping their picks, so they jumped on him. This is now the 4th time that we've seen the Ravens do something like this, and front offices and agents around the league are not happy. I think it's totally possible that we could see teams and agents make the Ravens a less preferred destination for trades and free agents in the future out of fear that they could get screwed again.